What is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the first episode in our coverage of System Shock 2. This is the first time I've done this. I've never done this before, but I put up a vote on Patreon, I put up a vote on Twitter, and I let people duke it out because there's nothing going on right now in gaming. Gaming is super dead until like December, mid-December even. There's not a lot of things happening aside from Just Cause 3. And so anyways, I wanted to play an older game because I need to fill in content space somewhere, and I couldn't decide what I wanted to play, and so I left it up to the viewership, and there was about 200 votes taken. Could have been a lot more. Be sure to check out the Twitter if you wanted to get in on those future votes. I don't know how frequently I'm going to do these fan favorite type series. However, we're going to do a full playthrough of System Shock 2. It won by like 4 votes out of 200. And so the other game that people wanted to see me play, VTM Bloodlines. And so nonetheless, System Shock 2 was widely considered to be one of the greatest games of all time. I haven't played it since like 2001. I remember back in the day, this game was like the shit, but I didn't play it that much. I didn't have it. And so unfortunately, I got a couple of play sessions on it at a friend's house back when AGP cards and voodoos and all kinds of things were a thing, I suppose. But anyways, for right now, we're going to be playing through System Shock. If you've never heard of it, it's one of the first games that mixed like first-person shooter and RPG mechanics successfully. It was kind of a weird game, though, in that, like, it didn't have commercial success. I think it only sold, like, 50,000 copies, and I think the studio went out of business. It was overshadowed by Half-Life, but definitely one of those little gems from ye olden years that I think everybody should check out if they have appreciation for gaming history. I want to check it out. I want to do a full playthrough because I've never beaten the game. I think I got up to, like, deck 4 or 5 when I played it back when it came out, and then I think it was, like, a friend's copy or something like that, and so I didn't get to finish it. I was, like, borrowing it or bogging it or something like that. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. Anyways, let's get started. There's lots of cinematics and things. We're going to be playing on normal. I forgot there was a difficulty. Oh, no, I gotta... Hold on, this is back before... So, the other thing... This is back before there was WASD, and so I gotta do that real fast. I forgot about that. Yeah, this is back before WASD was invented, and so they had the W key. That allows you to go forward, but A and D make you rotate, and that's just going to drive me crazy. I'm going to play on normal because this might as well be blind. I remember the game and, like, Shodan and all that stuff, but I don't expect to know a lot about the mechanics. I played the tutorial already, though, so we don't have to suffer through that, so sweet!
Look at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone, panting and sweating as you run through my corridors. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine? In 2072, a rogue artificial intelligence known as Shodan lost her mind. In her limitless imagination, Shodan saw herself as a goddess, destined to inherit the earth. That image was snuffed out by the hacker who created her.
February 3rd is the day the magic happens. The Von Braun, the first starship in history capable of traveling at faster than light speed, will undertake her maiden voyage. This incredible journey is the result of teamwork between the UNN Protectorate and the incredible scientific minds at the newly relicensed Tri-Optimum Corporation. Imagine being able to travel to distant star systems in a period of weeks. It's all part of Tri-Op's commitment to the future. The Von Braun is packed with over 1.8 billion flight, scientific, and security systems, nearly all developed by Tri-Optimum and its wholly owned subsidiaries. Providing security for the Von Braun as she plows through the heavens will be the UNN Rickenbacker. At her helm will be no less than Captain William Bedford Diego himself, hero of the Battle of Boston Harbor during the Eastern States Police action. This incredible union of government and corporation is made possible by an intricate series of docking mechanisms that will allow the Rickenbacker to piggyback its way into jump space. Sleek, fast, revolutionary. Who knows what wonders await our crews in the bosom of the cosmos? All we do know is that it's a great day for mankind.
As a UNN Von Braun, we've been hijacked by an unknown force. Ship security has been compromised. Do not allow the ship... Repeat, do not allow the ship to leave under any circumstances. I don't know what we're up against here.
Welcome to the Ramsey Center UNN recruitment facility. Please watch your step when leaving the train. The grav shafts at the end of the hall will take you to the street-level training and recruitment center. Please proceed to the grav shafts.
Please proceed to the grav shafts. How come we don't have grav shafts in our castle? If we had grav shafts, things that just levitated me to places, I would get so much stuff. I'm lying. I wouldn't get anything else done. So I've got a number of mods equipped to make the game look a little bit nicer. It just tightens things up so that it looks 1080p and things like that. It actually modifies some of the textures so they look less fuzzy, because once you modulate everything into a higher resolution than existed at the time, it tends to get a little bit fuzzy. And if you wanted a list of all the different mods that I have installed on the game, I'll have that down below. I can't give you like an installation.
Step into the grav shafts to proceed to the street-level recruitment.
Stepping into a little bit of shaft for right now. There we go. So anyways, I'll have a list of that down below. I can't explain how to do it, but, I can at least get you started with some links. This is how things looked back in 1999, and you would not believe, when I was younger playing like Half-Life and whatever, it blew our minds back in the day. People have gotten complacent about graphics, but this was the shit in 1999. You were like, whoa, look how realistic this truck looks. It has shapes. There's little fuzzy lights in the front of it. Oh my god. And it was pretty mind-boggling, to be honest. Boggle was being played up inside the cranium. Let's be on our way out this way. If I hold down shift, it'll let me walk. Now, I don't need to do basic training, so we can skip that. That's basically the game just like...
Before you choose your career, you'll want to learn some basic abilities. First, you should go into the basic training center. When you're done with basic training, proceed to the advanced training area.
I don't need basic training. I'm not a baby railroad engineer. We can go to advanced training. I'm going to skip all the tutorials, and I'm going to do my best to explain things as we go along, because I feel like wasting my time on the tutorials. I've played them already. Like, I get how the game works. I did like a trial run and played the game for like an hour or two just to get used to it. And so I think I know what's coming. But anyways, we don't need the training. I'll just explain things.
If you've completed basic training, you're ready for the advanced lessons provided here. Advanced training will familiarize you with the 3 key areas of military service: weapons training, technical training, and psionics training. Approach the Cyberlink booth of your choice to train in that area. When you finish training in the 3 areas, proceed directly to the recruitment center to choose and start your military career.
Alright, so I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what happens in each training so that like we all have the same information, and people that have never played the game before will understand what's going on, because they do give you some basic gameplay tenets while you're in there. Weapon training, that's if you're going to join the Marines, who are kind of the fighter class in this game. They give you weapon training in there. They teach you about weapons. They teach you about weapons degrading and falling apart while you're running around. They teach you how to swap ammo types, and they teach you about fire modes. So every gun in this game has a primary mode and a secondary mode. There's also multiple kinds of ammo, like anti-personnel rounds and things of that nature. That's what that training does. Technical training, that's for the Navy. And so if you go into the Navy, you're going to become kind of a cyber affinity hacker type guy. They teach you how to play the hacking minigame, which is very, very simple. They just put a grid and you're trying to connect 3. They teach you about nanites, which are the game's currency. And so anytime I pick up nanites, just replaced nanites with dollars or nan days or, nan squires, whatever you want to replace it with to make you happy. That's what you learn at technical school. And then psi skills are the game's version of magic. If you wanted to be a magic user, psi skills are where you're going to get those. And I think you go to a place called USP or something like that. If you get psi, it's like OSP or something like that. Either way, it's kind of like a secret service-y type deal. Oh,
Here's where you make your choice, soldier. Here's where you enlist in one of the 3 branches of the military. Once you decide on your branch of service, there's no going back. A shuttle will take you to a UNN orbital space station, where you'll receive a briefing regarding your yearly postings. Good luck.
Yeah, it's OSA. Anyways, you know what else I forgot to do? I forgot to bind backwards, because the backwards key makes you crouch. Oh, there's one other one that we have to bind too that I forgot about. Sorry, I rebound this, but for whatever reason it doesn't stick for me every single time. I rebound this, I swear to God, I rebound this before the series started. And for whatever reason, it came undone. Like, I was prepared this time around. This is not a normal Splattercat brain fart. Like, I was ready to go. So here's your choices. Fighter, technical guy, mage. It's all up to you, and it is going to determine the way that you play the game, and there are benefits to each. I actually read a guide about how to build your character in every different way too, like if you wanted to make a mage versus a fighter versus a hacker. So I have a rough idea of what I'm doing right now, which is better than what I have in most of the games where I go in blind. So if you wanted to be a mage, you would focus all on psi skills and unlocking things with your brain and conjuring energy weapon ammo from your mind and all kinds of random cool stuff you can do. Marines, very, very simply, you're either going to be like a melee dude, which you can supplement with a little bit of psi, or you're just going to be really good with guns. If you go into the Navy, which is what I would recommend, if you go into the Navy, you're going to be able to get hacking skills early, which is kind of a big deal. Like, being able to get hacking skills early, they aren't readily available for a while in-game from what I understand, and so I think I'm going to take the Navy so that I can beef out my hacking skills a little bit in the early game. So, in the Navy! That was our little travel screen. And here we are in the Navy. So anyways, aren't the Marines a part of the Navy or something like that? I thought Marines were like, I don't know, like a special branch of the Navy or something. Maybe everything's the Navy in this game. Hell if I know. Let's walk through this polygonal door. It actually doesn't look that bad for a game that's going on 20 years old. To be honest, for a 20-year-old game, it's looking pretty good once you mod it out a little bit. It only took like 10 minutes to throw these mods in. I had some trouble getting them to work, and so it took me a day or two. I planned to release this a lot earlier, but...
Welcome aboard the space station Chesapeake Bay, sailor. It looks like you've picked up some standard weapon skills at basic on Coronado Island. Now it's time for your tour of duty. Your tour will consist of 4 postings over 4 years. In this man's Navy, you're given a choice of 3 different postings a year. It's up to you to decide what kind of career you want to have, so choose wisely. Just approach a shuttle bay to receive a briefing on a posting. If you think that posting is right for you, head into that bay to accept the assignment.
It seems pretty sweet. I mean, as far as military stuff goes, I was understanding that you just got placed somewhere. This is pretty awesome. You get to choose what your job is, and there's actually a point. He said this man's Navy, but he's a robot. I don't know how I feel about that. Dirty robots. Anyways. So at this point, look, there's people here. He's got kind of an odd spastic hand, and he's definitely been doing too much thigh work. But I don't know. Booty looking pretty good in them pants. That's all that I'm saying. Like, if I could rock pants like that, and when people walk by, I'd be like, damn, look at the cracking booty on that dude. I'd be like, yep, my leg day worked out. My leg day worked out. Anyways, there's the first. You don't really talk to anybody before later on, but for right now, they're just going to give us robots because that's what newbies get.
The UNN Lucille is looking for volunteers for their military police detachment. Those sailors can get pretty rowdy on these year-long cruises, so you better not be afraid of a tussle.
Alright, and so basically the way that this works, there's 3 shuttles. Each shuttle is a posting for a year, and you pick the one. It's kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, and it determines what your starting stats are. And so anyways, I don't remember exactly what all these ones do. This one gives you strength and modify. Modify is your ability to customize weapons. Strength, I think, determines how hard you hit with melee and how much shit you can carry in your inventory.
The UNN Lucille is looking for an engineer's mate to help maintain the ship's core energy systems. There's some heavy lifting involved, sailor, but you'll learn your way around the high-tech equipment.
So this one gives us strength, and then what was the other thing it gave me? Repair. It gave me, sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I zone out really, really easily. The ADD is real. Repair is exactly what it sounds like. It's how good you are at fixing guns, and then strength we already talked about.
The UNN Lucille is looking for an ops training officer to learn the ship's navigation and data control systems. You'll get your feet wet with the high-tech systems, but also expect some heavy lifting.
So this one gives you +1 hack, and inside the context of the game, that's kind of a big deal because hacking can be kind of a pain in the ass to raise early in the game, and having a little bit of a head start will make your life easier when it comes to hacking. Is one of the most useful skills in the game, and so if you don't have it, it's going to be a rough playthrough. I think almost everybody maxes out hack when they play this game. So we're going to take that one, and then the strength will help out a little bit, but that's more supplementary than anything else. February 13th, 2112. Your tour of duty aboard the UNN Lucille has concluded. You've spent a productive year. Captain Mayer was pleased with your work, especially with the initiative that you showed in physical training. A friendly ensign showed you some backdoors into the ship's primary data loop, and you spent your time off pumping good old-fashioned iron. You've gained +1 hack and +1 strength. Alright, so time for our second year in the military. You'll see that we've got a completely different set of postings here. Let's go ahead and find out about each of them.
Laverne, Florida hosts the Navy's premier tactical training school. While maybe not as respected as the Marines facility at Fort Bush, there's a lot to be learned here.
Alright, so that's going to give us standard weapon skill. Pretty useful as far as the game goes because most of what you're going to be using the whole game are indeed standard weapons, shotguns, rifles, things of that nature.
The UNN Pierce is ferrying liberated political prisoners back home from their detention near Saturn. The Pierce has been assigned a detachment of Marines and needs sailors to load, administer, and maintain the arms on board the ship.
So essentially, maintenance just determines how fast your weapons degrade and how good you are at keeping your ship from breaking. Not gonna worry about it.
The UNN Carfax is undertaking a mission to examine a newly discovered Class B comet approaching the outer solar system. You'll likely pick up some useful skills working with the high-tech navigation systems aboard this newly commissioned heavy cruiser.
It's up to you. This is the point at which you're going to choose whether you want to go full, like, heavy decker, or whether you want to be kind of a multi-class decker warrior. I think the only real choice right here is between the Carfax and between the Laverne, and so you can say, show me the Carfax right now, or you can go with weapons training. I'm going to say that weapons training is probably going to be a little bit more useful. Cyber Affinity is good, don't get me wrong. Cyber Affinity makes it so that I think it's easier to hack things, and I think it just makes it easier to hack things. Pretty sure it increases your chance of being able to hack things. And so I think I'm going to go with the Laverne, though, because being able to shoot stuff in the face is a near and dear thing to me.
Laverne, Florida hosts the Navy's premier tactical training school. Well, maybe...
Man, look at those high-res models, the graphics! Your tour of duty at the Laverne Tactical Training School has concluded. A year of firing ranges, mock boarding parties, and war games has done you good. You spent plenty of time with military-grade pistols, assault rifles, and even auto shotguns. You've gained +2 to your standard weapons. Hooray! It's time for our 3rd year. Looks like we're finally a junior. We are no longer a wise fool. That's what sophomore means for the people out there that don't know what a sophomore means. It means that you're a wise fool. Yamamoto 0G training.
The Navy strongly encourages every sailor to undertake some amount of zero-G training. A year at the Yamamoto space station in Earth's orbit will more than suffice.
Zero-G training is basically training with every aspect of Compton removed from it. Anyways, if you don't want to be a G, that is the training that you will take.
The Navy maintains a survival training school on the surface of Io, the 3rd moon of Jupiter. Pros, there's no better way to improve stamina and survival skills. Cons, the 21.2% mortality rate.
That's a pretty high mortality rate. I don't know if I want to spin the cylinder, play Russian roulette with that one. 22%, that's double digits. It's starting to look bad. So that was agility. It makes you walk faster. That's pretty much, agility makes you walk faster, and I think it increases your fire rate or something like that with guns. Endurance just increases your HP. From what I've mostly read, most people don't seem to put much stock into endurance. Now, I think I have a gameplay mod in here that rebalances the game and went through and essentially just did the tune-up stuff that the developers would have done, had like patches and things like that existed way back in 1999. Now, like when you got the game on the disc back then, you basically got the game on the disc, and that's what you got. The gold edition is what everybody got. You couldn't go find like a patch or anything back then. I guess you could if you had the internet, but my family didn't have the internet until like 04, and so there you go. You played the game the way it was. So anyways, developers didn't do a lot of post-production patching back then. And so the community has gone back through, I think in 2010 or something like that, and they went through the code and they modded everything and they made it, you know, just kind of patched things up and made shitty skills better, made overpowered skills worse. And so obviously the information that I'm operating off of is from the vanilla game, and so there might be some minor changes here. We've also got the Marie Curie Research Facility.
The Navy's Marie Curie Research Facility on Aquinas 4 is currently conducting research on a new strain of spaceborne virus that killed 220,000 citizens of New Atlanta. To lift the quarantine, we must determine how the virus pierced the city's micronanite shielding.
Alright, and so the only real choice here, in my opinion, is probably just to go with agility. Like, the rest of these are kind of like, endurance would be cool, I guess. And then having research is alright, because as you kill enemies, you can pick up their body parts, and you can research them. However, I think I'll probably go with zero-G training.
The Navy strongly encourages every sailor to undertake some amount of zero-G training.
Your tour of duty at Yamamoto Station has concluded. You certainly weren't prepared for the events of this year. Captain Willits was never popular with his men, but you never expected half the crew to mutiny. The taut days spent regaining control of a ship with the captain lent you a grace and agility you never knew you were capable of. You've gained +2 agility. The other part of my rationale here is it's always better to get 2 points than 1. I don't know, if you can get 2 points out of something, I'd probably go for that because skills can get expensive later on.
Reinitializing memory strings. Restoring patient memory. Restoring memory. Restoring memory.
Steady yourself, soldier. This is Dr. Janice Polito of the computer ops staff of the Von Braun. You're safe for the time being. You're recovering from the effects of surgery and will be unable to remember any of the events of the last few weeks. You're on board the starship Von Braun and something's gone very, very wrong. Some kind of force has hijacked this ship. That's why you volunteered to be implanted with some experimental cybernetic implants. Rely on your cyber interface. It just might save your life. You must find an elevator and come up to Deck 4 to meet me. Deck 4. Can you remember that? But keep your eyes open. They're after us both now.
Simple enough, Deck 4. I mean, you give me instructions on those terms, like just a couple of syllables or whatever, I think I'm good.
Watch out. I'm getting strange readings from that radar dish outside the window. It's become unstable due to... Move! Take cover!
Critical decompression hazard in the cryo recovery suite. Evacuate immediately.
So apparently I'm supposed to be evacuating. We can right-click on stuff and then loot them. And so their loot will come up right here. He's got a wrench. I'm going to take that wrench, and I think I'm going to put it right there. And so anyways, as you get strength, it unlocks these little columns right here so that you can carry more stuff. This is our inventory. I'll talk about it more once we're no longer in harm's way. I've got a wrench now, and I can swing it and do all kinds of fun stuff. Namely, I can break things. And you know, that radar dish wasn't unstable due to its own faults. It was unstable due to a poor family life. Okay, why is this wrench so bloody? Somebody's definitely been using this for some after-hours entertainment or something. This is not
The entire sector is depressurizing. The blue walking shield won't last long. Get through a secure airlock before you're sucked into space. Move it!
No, that's the worst kind of being sucked. Let's go over here. I think I can slide that. Oh, we're in. Please don't let me die. What is this? Oh, cool, I got a log. So I think to use the logs, we press U.
Great. Gotta change the access codes out of Cryo A again. Like I've got nothing better to do. I think Grassy just likes to make work for me. I'll set the new code to 45100. That should be easy enough to remember.
45100. So I think that's for this pad right here. 45100. Perfecto. I think we're in. I don't think there's anything we can do with these consoles or whatever. Later on. Oh god, that lady just got low-res jacked. Oh man. I think we gotta go through here. What a conspicuously, like, placed pipe. Like, shouldn't there be some kind of cover around that or something? I don't know.
Warning. Decompression event imminent. Please move immediately to cryo recovery B. Decompression event imminent.
On the plus side, it looks like we're in.
This power cell is dead. There should be a recharger nearby. Just use it and it will recharge all the power-driven devices in your possession. After you've recharged the cell, plug it into the auxiliary power unit. That should open the airlock door. Be quick about it. The vacuum seals won't hold up much longer.
Oh man. Okay, so they're all recharged. There's the power cell. Do I drag it? Oh, I do. Well, that's pretty cool. That was really advanced for the time, by the way. Like dragging stuff out of a GUI and then into the game world and having it like interact with stuff was like, wah! Like your head almost exploded the first time you saw it.
Good. You've managed to get out before the whole area depressurized. I've just uploaded you some cybernetic modules. You can use them to upgrade your cybernetic rig at the upgrade units in this area. There are 4 types of units in the next room, one for each subsystem of your cybernetic gear. Stats, psi, weapons, and tech. But use the modules carefully. They're hard to come by.
So the cyber modules are basically how you level up. You can find them, I think, right here on the UI. If I press tab, here's the research menu for when we actually research stuff. We've got the help menu. I think we've got a map in here too that we can use. Yeah, it's like an old school like Doom style map, if I remember right. Yep, there it is right there. And so it's actually it's a little bit nicer than Doom. It's got, you know, multi-levels and things like that, and it all looks kind of nice. Everything in this game is stretched, by the way. Like, these are all mods. Like, the fact that all this stuff looks nice is because I modded it. Otherwise, it looks kind of low-res, even if you buy, like, the Steam version. It's still worth it to spend the time modding the game a little bit to spruce it up. Got the psionics menu, we got the combat menu where it's got all the things we're good at. Not heavy weapons, not exotic weapons, mostly standard weapons. Our tech skills, we have 1 in hack and nothing in anything else, unfortunately. And then on this side, we've got our raw stats, which are actually pretty decent for right now. We got strength and agility are pretty maxed out. Cybernetic affinity, I'd like to bring it up a little bit higher, but for right now, that's going to be the end of our time. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for the first episode of System Shock 2. I think we're going to have a good time with this game. I realize she's not much of a looker anymore, but I've heard how this game is like one of the greatest games of all time, and I've yet to play it, so I'll see y'all in the next episode. Hi-do, everybody.